guys, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're going to run down our top 5 Blumhouse movies.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I love doing the top 5s, and
Right.
I don't know your list, and you don't know my list, so this should be fun.
Our each.
Yeah.
We each will share our top 5.
So Blumhouse, if you guys don't know, they are a film studio that has become famous for making mostly low-budget horror movies. Just films on a very low budget that profit a whole lot, millions of dollars, just like thousands of times their budget. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've become famous for doing that, and it's a very important sub-studio of the Universal brand. So they have a lot of really good movies, as we'll get into. They also have a lot of really bad movies.
Isn't that everything, though?
So maybe we'll do a top 5 worst Blumhouse movies at some point. But before we get into,
isn't that everything, though?
Yeah,
it's got good and bad.
pretty much. But before we get into talking about it, subscribe to the channel. We do all kinds of movie and TV content, entertainment news, and all that. You would definitely enjoy it. So hit the subscribe button. Like the video. Comment down below. We want to know your top 3, top 5 Blumhouse films. Let us know in the comment section below. If you just want to give us your favorites, you can do that as well, or your top 10, top 15, whatever. Yeah, I don't care. Do you care?
I don't care.
All right, let's get into it.
I care. I care what you have to say.
Also turn on the bell notification. But let's get into it. Okay. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right, give me your number 5. What is it? I'm curious.
So, I'm not super prepared as far as who's in each movie or anything, so please don't expect that of me.
I'm not 100% prepared either. But.
Well, you usually know your stuff, but so my number 5 is a little movie called Hush.
Hush, that's a good pick.
Yeah, we watched this. Was it on Netflix?
Yeah, it was on Netflix in I think 2016. It was one of the first Netflix original movies.
Okay, and I know so the main star in this movie, an actress. I know that she is. Oh, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I want to see if I know.
No, I'm gonna
Flanagan?
So Mike Flanagan directed this movie. Yeah.
It's his wife.
Yeah.
Who is the actress in this movie.
Her name's Kate Siegel, I think is her name.
Okay, yeah. So this movie is really cool because it is about a deaf woman who is out in the woods, or she's out by herself.
She's isolated in a house.
She's isolated. That's the word I'm looking for. Like I said, she's deaf. And there is an intruder that comes.
Very interesting take on the home invasion
and
movie.
It's just so well done. And it's just a very, I don't know, I guess it reminds me of, what's it called? What's the movie where they break into the old man's house?
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe, okay. Yeah. But Hush came out first, right?
Hush did come out. Actually, I think it was the same year. Don't Breathe was 2016 as well.
We might have talked about
I think Hush came out before that one.
Okay.
But obviously, she's the victim, whereas in Don't Breathe, he's the aggressor once they break in on him.
True. But yeah, I don't know. This is a really, I don't know. It's a good movie, and I highly recommend watching it if you haven't seen it.
That's a good pick. Again, directed by Mike Flanagan, who did The Haunting of Hill House, Midnight Mass, Dr. Sleep. That dude does not miss to me. He's one of the most underrated horror directors.
And I guess he's kind of like Rob Zombie with having his wife and stuff.
Yeah, kind of. Only she can actually act.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that.
I don't want to throw shade to Rob Zombie. I talk crap about him enough. But look, my number 5 is a movie called Creep.
Okay.
The movie starring Mark Duplass. I love this movie. It's a found footage film. But it's very different than most other found footage films because most of the time you just have your guy behind the camera, and it's very generic, and the performances aren't usually that great in found footage movies. But Mark Duplass really brings an energy and charisma. He's such a nice guy, but then he just turns into a complete psychopath in the middle of the movie.
Right.
And it's like a found footage version of American Psycho or something, or Psycho. But I love this movie. It's one of my favorite found footage movies, and it is Blumhouse. So it's also available on Netflix if you guys haven't seen it. But the Peach Fuzz mask, do you remember that with the werewolf mask? Oh, so good.
Yeah. I remember thinking it was okay. It's definitely not on my list, but
yeah, it's a short movie too. It's only 70 minutes. But yeah, I love that movie. That's my number 5.
Okay, so let me see here. So my number 4 is Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day.
Yeah, Happy Death Day. So
it's a good movie.
When Happy Death Day came out, we did make it to the theaters to see it, and I remember us being so high on this movie. Like, we both loved it, and it was just a really fun movie, and, spoiler alert, didn't like the second one as much.
No.
Not even close, really.
Yeah. That was such a disappointment.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I thought the first one was a lot of fun, and I don't know. I like that movie.
It's creepy. It's got a fun atmosphere. It's a slasher movie. It's PG-13.
Yeah.
Which it's pretty cool that the kids have something that they can watch that's not as graphic and gory.
Right. Yeah.
My number 4 is Split. And this is an M. Night Shyamalan movie starring James McAvoy. That he has multiple personalities. He kidnaps 3 girls. It's such a great movie. It's very psychological. But James McAvoy's performance in this movie is he should have been nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
And performances like that, even though they're that good, will never be nominated for Oscars because they're horror movies, and the Oscars rarely recognizes that genre.
That's unfortunate.
But he should have. He plays like 30 different characters in this movie. He transitions back and forth between them seamlessly. I could have sworn we watched this movie together.
We might have.
You said that you didn't remember it.
We might have. I don't know.
It's got Anya Taylor-Joy in it.
Yeah.
She's great as one of the kidnapped victims, and I really love this movie. One of my favorites. So Split is number 4.
Okay, yeah. I'm not really surprised that that's on
your list. And it also
list.
connects to Unbreakable and Glass, which you didn't know it connected to Unbreakable to the last 5 minutes of the movie, and Bruce Willis pops up.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah.
Okay, so my number 3 is The Visit.
That's a good choice. Another M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, The Visit. This movie was so creepy, and let me just tell you, the movie X did not take any notes from this movie about creepy old people, because
this movie nailed it.
Yeah. And it also has, I'm not going to spoil it, but it has this awesome twist.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I've watched that movie recently.
Yeah. So it just has this awesome twist, and you're like, because you think like you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is great, and then they add in the twist too towards the end, and you're like, what? Like, oh my gosh. And so, this movie's creepy. Just briefly, it's, about 2 kids going to stay with their grandparents. And
it's found footage as well.
Yeah. And, need I say more? It's got
the scene with the grandma crawling under the crawl space.
Yeah, the deck
still haunts me to this day. You know how I feel about old ladies.
I tell Ken all the time that I'm going to be one of those one day, so...
This is, M. Night Shyamalan was in a bad spot. He was doing stuff like After Earth and The Last Airbender. And
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing about being a creepy old lady
you're going to scare me all the time. I already know it. But he was doing bad movies like After Earth, Last Airbender, and Last Airbender.
Airbender.
People were out with the M. Night Shyamalan. He was in the tank, but Blumhouse brought him back and gave him a shot to direct this little horror film, and that's what brought him back.
Yeah.
And then he did Split and Glass and all that stuff, and then Old. Well, Old wasn't as good. But,
what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a movie that I would consider to be, I think this movie is going to be a horror classic for many years to come, and that is Get Out. I love this movie. This movie, to me, it's up there with The Shining. It's up there with Psycho. It's just a lot of people haven't really recognized it yet. So I think people are still kind of throwing a little shade at it because they're saying it's too overhyped.
I'm one of those people.
I think it's a perfect psychological horror thriller.
You think?
It goes in some wild directions. I love everything that this movie throws at you. I get something different from it every single time I watch it. The performances are fantastic.
Have you kind of made it a tradition to watch it on New Year's Eve?
I have watched it on New Year's Eve a couple times. I don't know why I did, but it's not really a tradition. It's just something I've done.
Yeah.
But Daniel Kaluuya gives one of the best performances I've ever seen in a horror film. Allison Williams is fantastic. Bradley Woodford, Catherine Kinnear.
Oh yeah.
With the T and it's so iconic. I think this movie's going to hold up. It's going to stand the test of time. And I love this movie. I think it's a masterpiece.
All right, yeah.
Directed by Jordan Peele, who's also got Nope coming out this weekend, which I'm really excited to see.
Okay, so my number 2 is, I think this is going to surprise you, actually.
It might. You're very surprising sometimes.
My number 2 is The Hunt.
The Hunt, that's...
I've got a lot of those, The Visit, The Hunt. And
The Hunt.
You know, there's something else coming, but
The Hunt's, you know, it's an interesting one when you look back on it, because that was, I think, the last movie that came out in theaters before the pandemic.
was it? Okay.
And then all the theaters shut down, and then it came out on VOD, and I think that was the first movie we spent $20 on to watch at home.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that this was just very entertaining. Like, it's pretty on the edge of your seat a little bit. You know, it's about, I'm kind of like forgetting how she gets
It's almost like
to where she is.
It's almost like a Hunger Games, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think how she ends up getting there. Like, who puts her there? How does she...
They kidnap them all and they drop them in a field together. And then they're basically
There's a
hunting
reason
them.
why that they've picked them, right? Isn't there?
Yeah, I think
it's my number 2, and I can't remember all the details.
It's very, like, political. I think
They've all, like, done things that are kind of...
they're basically all, like, conservative people, and it's, like, the leftist elite that's kidnapped them, and they're hunting them.
Yeah. Like, they are kind of like in this mapped off area, like a very large area. Like, there's a store, like a little convenience store and stuff. And so it's just, I mean, I guess I can't really go into that because I don't want to spoil anything. But, like, you know, they realize that they're kind of a part of this.
I just remember there being, like, big deaths, like, right in the middle. Right, or not right in the middle, but right in the beginning. Like, there's characters in this movie that you'd be like, I can't believe that person just died. Yeah. Because they should be the lead of the movie.
I think what you said about it being like a Hunger Games for...
Yeah.
Like...
I don't think that they had to kill each other, but they had to, like, help each other to survive, like, because they're being hunted or something. I don't know. I can't remember everything.
No, they had to kill each other.
Did they have to kill each other?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I just remember they drop them in this field, and all of a sudden they're all getting picked off somehow. Yeah. But I guess they're killing each other. I think they leave, like, a bunch of weapons in the middle, and they all have to go after the weapons and kill each other.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I just remember having a lot of fun with it.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah.
I like it.
I remember having fun with it.
The lead actress, I don't know her name. I think it's like something Betty Gilpin. She gave a very interesting performance. It was a badass performance, but like I just remember like her character, the way she talked. She has like a country accent. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Good movie. My number 2 is Paranormal Activity.
Okay. All right.
I love my found footage horror movies,
Apparently.
and this is the best in my opinion. This is the one that scares me. It still creeps me out when I watch it. There's a group of people that, you know, say this is just a gimmick, it's overhyped, but I actually think there's a nice story that develops here. And it's kind of, I feel like this movie scares me because I don't feel like you're going to have a problem me saying this, but around the time I watched this movie, you were having a lot of night terrors. And you would be running out of the room, like screaming that something was on your arm. Or you'd be telling me that there was stuff in the corner of your room. And I watched this movie.
Wow,
and
way to make me look like a freak.
You don't do that anymore, but I watched this movie from the perspective of her boyfriend, and she deals with a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's a haunting they're dealing with. So it frightened the shit out of me when I watched it because of that, because I was projecting all of that onto you and our situation.
I remember you saying that actually. Yeah.
It still terrifies me to this day. I actually think that this one, the second one, and the third one just tell one of the best horror stories. And it's just a perfect horror trilogy. I love this movie. It's just one of my favorites of all time. But still only number 2.
Okay, yeah. For me, I just feel like a bunch of nothing happens in that first one.
It's a lot of people say that, but I find a lot of terror just in the small moments. Just the doors creaking, the slight wind rush. The escalation is beautiful, and it slowly builds that tension the entire movie, and then when you get to that payoff at the end, unlike the Blair Witch Project, which I love the Blair Witch Project too, but that payoff wasn't as satisfying. The payoff in Paranormal Activity is extremely terrifying and satisfying at the same time.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we're at my number 1.
Oh, yeah.
So my number 1 is The Invisible Man.
Invisible Man's great.
Yeah.
Another pre-quarantine movie.
Yeah, we saw this in the theaters, and I just remember, like, enjoying every minute of it. Every minute of it. Yeah, it was very creepy, and I don't know, everybody was, gave a good performance in it, and Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it.
Elizabeth Moss, very well directed by Lee Winnell.
Yep.
It's a cool movie. It's like a horror movie, but then it turns into like a sci-fi action movie.
Right.
So it's got a lot of elements. I like that one. My number one is not a horror movie. Blumhouse has directed 2 dramas. You could kind of call this a horror movie. It's psychological horror, but my number one's Whiplash.
Oh, of
they
course.
produced Whiplash, and I know it's not horror, but you have to count it because it's Blumhouse.
Right.
I think they did this one and Black Klansman are like their 2 like non-horror dramas. But Whiplash, you know how I feel about Whiplash. I don't really have to talk about it too much. It's in my top 10 movies of all time.
How many times have you seen it?
I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times.
I was gonna say, have you seen it a bunch to like really keep loving it?
I watched it, I think we watched it in like 2015 or something. It came out in 2014. I watched it a couple of times after that. And since I've rebought it on 4K, I've watched it a couple more times. And yeah, I love that movie.
Still holds up for you?
Still holds up. The J.K. Simmons performance is just one of the best of the 21st century, in my opinion. I just think he's fantastic. I love Miles Teller in it as well. They're, very toxic mentor-mentee relationship. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but it's just not.
It has a lot to say about what it takes to, push yourself to that level of greatness, to achieve what you want in life. And, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And I just feel like it does it very well. So, directed by Damien Chazelle, who also did La La Land, which we love together. But Whiplash, number one.
There you have it.
There you go. So that is our top 5 Blumhouse movies. Again, in the comment section below, let us know what your top 5 Blumhouse movies are.
Yeah.
And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button and turn on the bell notifications and follow us on our social media account, Instagram. That link is down below in the description. See you later.
Bye-bye.